I thought letting someone buy me drinks and dance close was just harmless fun. Everyone does it, right? Why did my boyfriend act like I betrayed him when I was only enjoying myself? I never imagined one night at the club would unravel my entire life, turning friends and family against me while he quietly planned something I never saw coming. My name is Vesper Thorne. I am 31 years old, and I work as a social media coordinator for a lifestyle brand in the city. I have always thought of myself as confident, independent, someone who does not apologize for living her truth. I believe relationships should not feel like cages, and I refuse to let anyone, especially a man, tell me how to act or who to talk to. Owen Marsh, my boyfriend of 3 years, is 33 and works as an IT systems analyst. He is calm, methodical, and patient, which I used to think was a good thing. Lately, though, his patience has started to feel like judgment, and his questions feel like control. The night everything started to shift was a Friday in late March. Owen and I went to a club downtown with a group of friends. The music was loud, the lights were low, and the energy was exactly what I needed after a long week at work. Around 11:47, I stepped out onto the smoking patio to get some air. The metal railing was cold against my lower back, and I could feel the bass vibrating through the floor beneath my feet. A bartender named Dex, someone I had met earlier that night, followed me out. He was charming, flirty, and easy to talk to. He lit my cigarette and rested his hand on my wrist while we talked. I laughed louder than I normally would, tilting my head back, letting the moment feel free. Owen stood 3 steps away, holding my coat, watching. I saw his jaw tighten, but I told myself he was overreacting. Other couples nearby glanced over at us. Someone tilted their phone in our direction, probably taking a photo or a video, but I did not care, or at least I told myself I did not. Dex leaned in and whispered something funny into my ear, his breath warm against my cheek. Owen did not say anything. He just stood there, holding my coat like a servant, and I felt a flicker of annoyance that he was not enjoying himself the way I was. We left the club a little after midnight. The ride home was silent. Owen drove while I scrolled through my phone, checking the photos people had posted. One showed me laughing with Dex, his hand resting lightly on my shoulder. I saved it to post later. When we got back to our apartment, Owen asked me to talk in the stairwell instead of going inside right away. The hallway smelled faintly of disinfectant and old carpet. His voice stayed low and controlled, but I could hear the tension underneath. He asked why I had needed Dex's hands on my waist during a slow song when Owen was standing right there in the same room. I told him it was just dancing, that everyone does it, that he was reading too much into nothing. He brought up the railing moment, the cigarette, the way Dex had whispered into my ear. I cut him off and said he was embarrassing me by making a scene over something so harmless. A neighbour's door opened a crack, then closed again. Owen kept his voice steady and asked what I expected him to feel when I ignored him in public and gave all my attention to strangers. I replied that real partners trust each other and that his jealousy was his problem, not mine. We went inside. I sat on the living room sofa and posted the photo from the club to my story with a caption about living your truth. Owen sat across from me, silent, staring at the muted television screen. I assumed I had won the argument. He stood up, walked into the bedroom and closed the door quietly. I poured myself a glass of water and saw a thin binder labelled Utilities sitting on the kitchen counter. It looked thicker than usual, but I did not open it. The next morning, Owen made coffee without asking if I wanted any. I told him he was being dramatic. He replied calmly that he was not dramatic. He was just thinking. I asked what that meant. He said we needed to talk about boundaries, about what respect looks like when we are out together in public. He brought up the club patio moment specifically. The cold railing, Dex's hand placement, the coat-check ticket stub I had left in my jacket pocket with Dex's phone number scribbled on the back. I had not known Owen saw that. I laughed it off and said it was nothing, just networking. He asked why I needed to network with bartenders at midnight. I said he was twisting things and that I deserved to have fun without being policed. He suggested we set some ground rules together or talk to someone neutral about what each of us needed. I refused and told him therapy was for people with real problems, not for someone being paranoid. Later that morning, Owen gathered a pillow and a spare blanket from the bedroom. He said he would sleep on the couch for a while until we figured things out. I asked why he was punishing me for having a good time. He said he was not punishing anyone. He was giving us both space to think clearly. I mocked him and said real men do not run away from their girlfriends over a dance. He did not respond. He left the room with his phone charger and a notebook. I heard the couch springs creak as he lay down. That evening, I tried to start a conversation. I asked if he wanted to order takeout together. He thanked me but said he had already eaten. I sat beside him on the couch and touched his arm. He did not pull away, but his body stayed stiff, distant. I asked if he was still upset about the club. He said he was not upset. He was deciding what he could accept long term. I laughed nervously and told him he was being extreme. He mentioned that respect was not extreme and that he had seen me post the photo with Dex even after our argument. He asked what message I wanted to send by doing that. I replied that I did not owe him control over my social media. He nodded slowly and said he understood. Then he picked up his laptop and opened a new folder on the desktop. The label read, Archive March. I did not ask what it was. A few days later, Owen's phone lit up with a calendar reminder that read, Fletcher Building, 3 p.m. He dismissed it quickly without explaining. I asked what appointment he had. He said it was nothing important. I saw the notification and wondered what he was keeping secret. The following week, my company held a networking event on a rooftop bar downtown. It was the kind of event where people from different departments mingled, drank wine, and pretended to talk about work while actually talking about everything else. I invited Owen by text that morning, but he barely responded. I assumed he was still being moody and decided not to push him. The rooftop was beautiful. String lights hung over the railing, and the city skyline glowed in the background. I wore a dress Owen had once told me he loved. He arrived late, walked straight to the bar, and ordered water. I waved at him from across the deck, but he did not come over. Dex was there. Someone from my marketing team had invited him. I acted surprised when I saw him, but honestly, I was happy. He was fun, easy to be around, and he made me feel noticed. He brought me a drink, and I leaned in close to hear him over the music. Owen watched from across the deck. My co-worker Chandra glanced between us, then sipped her wine without saying anything. Someone from accounting took a photo. I posed mid-laugh, and Dex's hand hovered near my lower back. The photo was posted within minutes and tagged with my name, Dex's name, and 3 others. Owen was not in the frame. He saw it on his phone. I did not notice him take a screenshot, but later I would learn that he did. Owen moved closer after a while. I walked over and asked why he was standing alone. He said he was just watching. I asked if he was having fun. He said no, but he had wanted to see how I acted at these events. I asked what that meant. He pointed out that I had spent 40 minutes with Dex and less than 2 with him. I said I was networking and that Owen was being clingy. He replied quietly that wanting to be acknowledged by your girlfriend at a public event was not clingy. I laughed and said he sounded ridiculous. My friend Mira walked past and overheard the exchange. Her expression changed, but she did not say anything. We left separately that night. I took a rideshare home. Owen drove alone. When I got back to the apartment building, Tony, the concierge, nodded at me. I was holding my heels, barefoot on the cold tile floor. I asked if Owen had come home yet. Tony said he had arrived 20 minutes earlier and had gone upstairs with a folder. I took the elevator. The metal walls reflected my smudged makeup. I felt a flicker of something, guilt, maybe, or nervousness. But I pushed it away. Owen was overreacting. I had done nothing wrong. When I walked into the apartment, Owen was sitting at the kitchen counter with his laptop open. A browser tab read, Lease Agreement PDF. Another one read, Tenant Rights. I asked what he was doing. He said he was reviewing some paperwork. I asked if it was for work. He said it was personal. I felt annoyed and asked why he had left the event early. He said he had stayed long enough. I accused him of being passive-aggressive. He closed the laptop and said we would talk tomorrow. I said there was nothing to talk about. He replied that there was, but not tonight. He went to the couch. I heard the pillow hit the armrest. The next morning, Owen asked why I had chosen to stand so close to Dex in the rooftop photo when he was standing alone less than 10 feet away. He mentioned the metal railing I had leaned against, the same type of railing from the club patio, and the way my hand rested on Dex's forearm in the frame. He asked if I understood how that looked to everyone at the event, including my co-workers. I said he was being paranoid and that it was just a group photo. He said it was not a group photo. It was me and Dex, isolated in the frame, while he stood outside it. He asked if I had done it on purpose to send a message. I accused him of being insecure and said his feelings were not my responsibility. That evening, Owen said he needed to set a clear boundary. If we were going to continue dating, he needed me to stop publicly prioritizing other men over him at social events. He brought up the rooftop bar specifically, the 40 minutes I spent with Dex, the photo, the fact that I had not introduced Owen to anyone. He suggested we either go to events together and act like a couple, or I go alone and he would stop attending. He offered to talk it through with a counselor if I wanted a neutral space. I refused and said he was trying to control my social life. I told him real confidence meant not needing constant validation, and that Owen clearly lacked it. A few days later, Owen's demeanor changed. He became noticeably calmer, less reactive. He stopped trying to join me at events. He started keeping his phone on silent and checking it privately. He organized bills and receipts into a folder labeled Household March. When I asked about his day, he gave short, polite answers. I thought he was sulking. He was not. Owen's brother Malik sent him a text that I saw the preview of. "Mom said you looked tired at dinner. Everything okay?" Owen replied with one word: handling it. I asked who Malik was talking about. Owen said it was nothing. Then his phone buzzed with another calendar alert. Westbrook, 10 a.m. I tried to look at his screen, but he tilted it away. I asked if he was seeing someone. He said no. I did not believe him, but I had no way to prove otherwise. The following Saturday, Owen's family held a spring picnic by the river. His mother Greta spread a checkered blanket on the grass. His father Leonard worked the grill. Malik brought his girlfriend. Owen and I arrived together, but the tension between us was obvious. I wore sunglasses and a sundress, trying to look relaxed. Then Dex showed up. I had invited him, claiming he was a friend from work. Owen did not know, Greta noticed immediately. Leonard's smile faded. I introduced Dex to everyone, laughing too loudly, trying to make it seem normal. Owen set down a cooler and walked to the water's edge. Malik followed him. I sat on the grass with Dex. I shared my plate with him. He fed me a strawberry, and I let him. Greta watched from the blanket, her mouth pressed into a thin line. Leonard asked Owen if everything was all right. Owen said he was fine. Leonard said it did not look fine. Owen said he was handling it. Malik came back and asked me if I could help with something. I said I was busy. He asked again, quieter, and I reluctantly stood. Dex stayed on the grass scrolling his phone. Near the parking area, Malik asked what I was doing. I asked what he meant. He said I had brought another man to a family event and ignored Owen the entire time. I said Dex was just a friend and that Owen was being oversensitive. Malik said it did not look like friendship. I accused him of siding with Owen without knowing the full story. He replied that he did not need the full story. He could see how I was treating his brother. I said Owen was free to leave if he was unhappy. Malik stared at me for a long moment, then walked away. I returned to Dex. Owen saw the whole exchange from the riverbank. Someone took a group photo. I positioned myself between Dex and Malik's girlfriend. Owen stood at the edge of the frame. Greta did not smile. The photo was posted to the family group chat an hour later. Owen saved it. I posted my own version with a caption: "Good vibes and great people." Owen was not tagged. Leonard told Greta quietly that he did not understand what was happening. Greta said she did, and she did not like it. Owen and I left separately. I took a rideshare with Dex. Owen drove alone. At the parking garage pay station, he opened the glove box and filed the saved photo receipt under Events April. The folder was organized by date. He started the car and drove home in silence. I arrived at the apartment an hour after Owen. I was cheerful, humming to myself. I asked if he had fun. He said no. I asked why not. He said I knew why. I sighed and said he was holding a grudge. He replied that he was not holding a grudge. He was recognizing a pattern. I asked what pattern. He listed 3 moments: the club, the rooftop bar, and now the family picnic. Each time I had chosen someone else's attention over his, in public, in front of people who mattered. I said he was being dramatic and that I was allowed to have friends. He said friends do not require performance. I did not respond. He took his pillow to the couch again. I slammed the bedroom door. The next morning, Owen asked why I had invited Dex to a family event without telling him first, and why I had sat on the grass feeding strawberries to another man while his parents and brother watched. He mentioned the group photo, the way I had positioned myself so he was barely in the frame, and asked if I understood how disrespectful that looked to his family. He said he needed me to understand that relationships require consistency, not just privacy, and that what I did in public reflected on both of us. He offered one more chance to sit down and set clear expectations, maybe with a counselor present. I said his family was judgmental and old-fashioned, and that I did not need to perform for them. I told him if he could not handle me being social, that was his insecurity, not my problem. Later, Owen asked when I had invited Dex to the picnic why I had chosen not to mention it to him beforehand and what I expected him to think when Dex showed up without warning. He pointed to the checkered blanket his mother had spread, the same blanket from every family gathering, and asked if I understood what it meant to his parents to see me treat their family event like a casual party. I dodged and said I did not need permission to invite friends. He asked if Dex knew I had a boyfriend. I said of course he did. Owen asked why Dex acted like he did not. After a quiet meeting Owen had scheduled at Westbrook 10 a.m., his behavior shifted again. He stopped engaging emotionally. He greeted me politely but did not ask about my day. He began moving clothes into a duffel bag, claiming he was organizing seasonal items. He kept his laptop password protected. When I asked what he was working on, he said budget planning. I thought he was being petty. He was preparing housing options. Owen's father called him one evening and asked if he was safe. Owen said yes. Leonard said if Owen needed help, he and Greta were ready. Owen thanked him and said he would let them know soon. I overheard part of the call and asked what it was about. Owen said family stuff. Then his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Documents ready. Pick up any time. I saw the notification. I asked who it was. Owen said it was a work thing. I did not believe him. He did not explain further. The following Tuesday morning I went to the gym before work. After my workout, I headed to the locker room to shower. As I walked past a row of lockers, I heard my coworker Chandra talking to another woman. Chandra said she felt bad for Owen. The other woman agreed and said I was playing with fire. Chandra mentioned the rooftop bar photo and said it looked really disrespectful. I stayed hidden in the shower stall, my chest tightening. I wanted to confront them but did not. I left quietly through the side exit, skipping my usual coffee. Later that morning at the co-working space lounge, my friend Mira asked if I had talked to Owen recently. I said we were fine. Mira said it did not seem fine. She mentioned that Owen had reached out to her the previous week and asked if I had been seeing someone. I was shocked. I asked why Owen would ask that. Mira said because it looked like I was. I accused Mira of taking Owen's side. She said she was not taking sides. She was just being honest. She said I had changed and that my behavior at events made people uncomfortable. I stormed out. On Thursday evening, Owen insisted we attend one session with a relationship counselor named Dr. Kowalski. I agreed. assuming I could control the narrative. The waiting room smelled like lavender and old magazines. Owen sat with his hands folded, calm. I scrolled my phone. Dr. Kowalski called us in. The session lasted 50 minutes. I explained that Owen was jealous and controlling. Owen calmly listed specific incidents: the club patio, the rooftop bar photo, the family picnic. Dr. Kowalski asked me if I understood why those moments hurt Owen. I said I did not think I had done anything wrong. Dr. Kowalski asked if I wanted the relationship. I hesitated. Owen noticed. Dr. Kowalski suggested we each take time to clarify what we wanted. Owen agreed. I felt cornered. On the way home, I accused Owen of ganging up on me with the therapist. Owen said the therapist had been neutral and had just asked questions. I said the questions were biased. Owen asked if I had heard myself during the session. I asked what he meant. He said I could not name one thing I would change about my behavior, which meant I did not think there was a problem. I said there was not a problem. He was the problem. He replied quietly that he used to think that too, but now he knew better. I asked what that meant. He did not answer. That Friday night, Owen sat at the desk in our home office nook with his laptop. The screen showed a folder tree, lease copy, photos, March/April, texts, backup, witness notes. I walked by and asked what he was working on. He minimized the screen and said he was organizing files. I asked if he was leaving. He said he was considering his options. I laughed nervously and said he would not actually leave. He said he would if staying meant accepting disrespect as normal. I said he was overreacting. He said he was not. He was protecting himself. I walked away. He reopened the folder and added a new document titled Timeline Final. The next morning, I tried to initiate physical affection. Owen gently moved my hand away. I asked why he was being cold. He said he was not cold. He was distant because he did not feel safe being vulnerable with me. I asked what that meant. He said it meant I had shown him repeatedly that his feelings did not matter to me, and he could not keep pretending they did. I said he was being manipulative. He said he was being clear. He picked up his keys and left for a few hours. I did not know where he went. Owen said the therapist had asked a question I did not answer, whether I actually wanted to stay in the relationship or if I wanted something else. He brought up the waiting room, the lavender scent, the way I scrolled my phone instead of making eye contact with him, and asked if I could honestly say I still cared about us as a couple. He said if I wanted to fix things, he needed me to stop posting photos with other men, stop bringing them to private events, and agree to clear boundaries we both respected. He offered to try again, with structure, if I was willing. I said I did not need to prove anything to him, and that he was trying to guilt me into submission. Owen asked why, during the therapy session, I had said I loved him, but could not name a single recent moment when I prioritized his feelings over my desire for attention. He pointed to my cracked phone case again, the same phone I used to post every photo with Dex, and asked if I saw the contradiction. I said he was twisting my words. He asked if I remembered what Dr. Kowalski said when she asked me to name one compromise I was willing to make. I had gone silent. Owen asked what that silence meant. After another quiet meeting, Owen stopped sleeping on the couch and started sleeping in the second bedroom, which he locked from the inside. He moved his important documents into a storage unit without telling me. He opened a separate bank account and rerouted his paycheck. When I asked about finances, he said he was managing his own expenses now. I felt panic rising but told myself he was bluffing. One evening in the apartment lobby, Tony the concierge handed Owen a sealed envelope. Owen thanked him and tucked it into his jacket. I saw from the elevator. I asked what it was. Owen said building paperwork. I did not believe him. Then his phone buzzed with a calendar alert. Harrison Med, 2:30 p.m. Pickup forms. I demanded to know what appointment he had at a medical building. Owen said it was personal. I accused him of hiding things. He said I was right, he was. The following Saturday, I was supposed to go on a group trip to a coastal town. Owen and I had planned to go together. The night before, he sent me a text saying he would not make it. I was furious. I arrived at the ferry terminal that morning with Mira, Chandra, and a few others. Dex showed up too. I assumed Owen was being petty. The group boarded the ferry. I sat next to Dex. Mira sat across from us, quiet. The water smelled like salt and diesel. I posted a selfie with the caption, "Solo Adventures." I did not feel adventurous. I felt exposed. On the ferry deck, Chandra asked where Owen was. I said he had work stuff. Chandra said that was too bad. Mira asked if we were okay. I said we were fine. Mira did not look convinced. Dex offered me a drink from the snack bar. I accepted. Someone took a photo. I did not smile as wide this time. I checked my phone. Owen had not texted. I felt a hollow ache but pushed it down. When we reached the coastal town, the group walked along the beach promenade. I tried to stay close to Dex, but he was distracted, talking to someone else. I walked alone for a stretch. Mira caught up and said she thought I was making a mistake. I asked what she meant. She said Owen was a good guy and I was treating him like he did not matter. I said Owen was controlling. Mira said Owen was hurt. I said there was a difference. Mira said there was not. Not when I was the one hurting him. She walked ahead. I stood on the promenade, wind pulling at my hair, feeling more alone than I had in months. I returned home that evening. Tony, the concierge, said Owen had stopped by earlier with his brother. They had taken several boxes. The elevator ride felt longer than usual. I unlocked the door. Half of Owen's things were gone. His desk was cleared. The closet was half empty. A note sat on the kitchen counter. I will be staying elsewhere. Lease terms in the folder. We will talk soon. I opened the folder. It contained a copy of the lease, a breakdown of shared expenses, and a proposal for how we would split bills until the lease ended. There was a separate document titled Move Out Schedule. Owen had already secured another place. I called him. He did not answer. I texted, "We need to talk." He replied an hour later, "Not tonight." I tried to call Mira. She did not pick up. I sat on the couch, alone with the folder in my lap. That night, I scrolled through old photos of Owen and me. I tried to remember when things changed. I told myself he was overreacting. I told myself I had done nothing wrong. But a part of me, small, quiet, wondered if everyone else was right. I pushed the thought away. I posted a vague story. People change, I guess. No one replied. The next morning, Owen called and said he wanted to meet one last time to see if there was anything left worth saving. He asked me to meet him at the beach promenade where we had our first date, the same wooden railing, the same view of the ferry dock. He said if I could honestly tell him I wanted him, respected him, and was willing to stop the public disrespect, he would consider trying again. He said if I could not, he would move forward with separating completely. I accused him of issuing an ultimatum. He said it was not an ultimatum. It was clarity. I refused to meet. Owen asked why, after he told me he would not attend the ferry trip because he needed space. I still went and sat next to Dex the entire time, posted photos without him, and acted like his absence did not matter. He mentioned the diesel smell from the ferry dock, the same dock we visited on our first date, and asked if I even remembered what that place used to mean to us. I said he was being sentimental and manipulative. He asked if I had noticed that none of my friends defended me anymore. I hung up. After that call, Owen stopped responding to my messages immediately. He replied once a day in short logistical sentences. He changed his emergency contact from me to Malik. He removed my access to his location sharing. He told his family he was moving out permanently. When I tried to visit him, he was not there. I did not know where he was staying. Control was slipping completely. A few days later, I tried one more time to shift tactics. I sent Owen a message saying I understood I had made mistakes and that I wanted to work on things together. I asked if we could meet for coffee to talk calmly. He replied that he appreciated the message, but that words were not enough anymore. He needed to see consistent changes over time, and right now, he needed space. I said I was willing to make changes. He asked what specific changes. I listed vague things: better communication, more consideration. He said those were not specific. He asked if I was willing to delete Dex's contact, stop attending events where Dex would be, and post a public acknowledgement that I had disrespected him. I said that was extreme and controlling. He said then we had nothing more to discuss. The call ended. I saw the manipulation attempt fail in real time. Owen did not soften. His responses became even shorter. I had tried to use empathy to pull him back, but it only confirmed to him that I still did not understand the problem. That was when he made his silent decision. I did not see it happen, but I would learn about it later. He quietly updated the lease paperwork, contacted the landlord, and finalized his move-out logistics without telling me. The marker was invisible to me until it was too late. Before the end, I crossed a line I could not take back. At a work event the following week, someone asked where Owen was. I said loudly, in front of Mira and Chandra, that Owen had issues with control and that I was better off without him. I said he could not handle a confident woman. Chandra looked uncomfortable. Mira excused herself and left. I posted a story later that night, thriving without the dead weight. Owen's brother Malik saw it. So did Owen's parents. That post became the final piece of evidence that I was not interested in repairing anything. I was interested in winning. Owen sent a single text: I will handle this properly and legally. Do not contact me outside of logistics. I did not understand what legally meant. I was about to find out. Owen asked me to meet him at the Harrison Medical Center cafeteria on a Thursday morning. I thought it might be a reconciliation attempt. I arrived early, ordered coffee, and sat near the window. Owen arrived at 11:30 with a manila folder and his brother Malik as a witness. My hands tightened around the coffee cup. Owen sat across from me. Malik stood nearby. Owen slid the folder across the table. Inside, formal lease termination notice, proof of his new residence, a breakdown of final shared expenses, and a detailed move-out schedule. He said he was moving out completely within 30 days and that I had two options: find a new roommate or take over the lease myself. The document was signed, dated, and notarized. I asked why he was doing this here in public. Owen said he wanted a neutral location with a witness so there would be no confusion. I tried to touch his hand. He moved it away. I asked if we could talk privately. He said everything that needed to be said had been said. I accused him of being cruel. Malik stepped forward and said Owen had tried to talk for months and I had refused every time. I looked around. A nurse glanced over. The cafeteria smelled like antiseptic and reheated pasta. I said I loved him and that we could fix this. Owen asked when I had shown that love. I listed moments: dinners, trips, time together. Owen counted each one with a specific incident: the club patio and the railing, the rooftop photo where he was cropped out, the family picnic where I fed Dex strawberries in front of his parents. He brought up the cracked corner of my phone case again, the phone I used to post every photo that humiliated him. He said love was not words, it was behavior. Mine spoke clearly. I started to cry. He did not soften. Malik handed me a tissue. Owen stood and said the move-out date was final. He left. I sat alone with the folder. Owen had built a timeline: screenshots of my stories, saved text threads, photos from the club patio, the rooftop bar tag where he was excluded, the family picnic group photo with him cropped to the edge, and witness statements from Mira, Tony, and Dr. Kowalski's session notes. The folder contained not just the lease termination, but annotated proof that my behavior was consistent, public, and documented. I could not rewrite history. During the meeting, I had tried to claim Owen was controlling and that I was just being friendly. Malik interrupted and read aloud from the folder. Direct quotes from my own posts, timestamps showing I ignored Owen's calls during the ferry trip, and Dr. Kowalski's session note stating I could not name a single compromise I was willing to make. A hospital staff member nearby glanced over. I tried to spin the narrative, but Malik said the proof spoke for itself. Owen stood, and left. I could not stop him. Within days, everything collapsed. I could not afford the apartment alone. I posted on roommate boards. No one responded. I moved to a small studio across town. The new place smelled like mildew and old paint. Owen stopped covering shared subscriptions. My streaming accounts lapsed. My gym membership was declined. Mira unfollowed me. Chandra stopped inviting me to work events. The group chat from the ferry trip went silent whenever I posted. Dex stopped replying to my texts. My manager pulled me aside and said there had been complaints about my behavior at networking events. I was no longer sent to represent the company publicly. Chandra was promoted instead. I ate lunch alone at my desk. 3 weeks later, I sent Owen a long email. I said I had made mistakes, but that he had made mistakes too. I said relationships were complicated and that he had given up too easily. I asked if we could try again in a few months. Owen replied in 2 sentences. I did not give up. I protected myself. Please do not contact me again. He blocked my number. I tried Malik. He did not respond. I tried Greta. She sent a single text. Owen is at peace now. I hope you find yours too. I used to believe that independence meant doing whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and that anyone who questioned me was trying to control me. I thought attention from other men proved I was desirable, and that Owen's hurt feelings were his problem, not mine. I told myself I was confident, empowered, living my truth. But the truth was simpler than I wanted to admit. I wanted validation more than I wanted him, and I treated his love like it was guaranteed. I thought he would always be there, waiting, no matter how many times I chose someone else in front of him. I was wrong. The apartment is quiet now. My phone does not buzz with texts from friends. The rooftop bar photos are deleted, but the internet never forgets. I see Owen sometimes from a distance at places we used to go. He looks lighter. I look away. I wanted everything: the freedom, the attention, the relationship. But I learned too late that you cannot have someone's heart while publicly handing yours to strangers. He did not leave because he was weak. He left because I showed him over and over that I did not value him. The lease ends next month. I have nowhere to go. And for the first time, I understand what it feels like to be alone because of choices I made, not circumstances I could not control. I thought I was proving my independence. I was really just proving I did not know what love required. Now I do, but it is too late.